Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Shelly's Millions. In today's video, I want to go over the news release from the EDD that does include the information about when Californians can start to expect to see the extra $300 provided by the Lost Wages Assistance Program, which is what was in the president's executive order / memorandum. So if you want to know all about that, and of course hear me read the EDD news release, stick around because that's what I'm going to go over in today's video. If you are enjoying the content on these videos, I would appreciate it so much if you could take a minute and like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and maybe share this video with someone who might find it useful. It really helps the YouTube algorithm show the video to more people, and again, I really appreciate it, so thank you. I'm not a professional, I'm just somebody going through the unemployment process myself for the first time, and this video is going to focus mostly on the state of California, but I will be referencing a few things from the states of Texas and New York, and of course if everyone wants to watch, this may give you an idea about how your state might roll this program out. So you're certainly welcome to watch as well. It just may not be as beneficial for those of you who are not in California. Okay, now I am going to read for you guys, but I'm going to read it in little sections and then I'm going to stop and break it down. So this is straight off the EDD website. The section, I think it's called Newsroom, and this news release was posted yesterday, August 27th. And on page 2, it says, Status of $300 Federal Lost Wages Assistance Benefits. California has federal approval for an initial $4.5 billion in funding for the Federal Lost Wages Assistance, LWA, program, which will provide eligible claimants with a supplemental payment of $300 per week for a minimum of 3 weeks. I want to talk a little bit about this part that says a minimum of 3 weeks. How the program is being rolled out in all of the states is that after your state first applies, they're given 3 weeks of initial funding for the program, and then after that, they have to apply for additional weeks. And through the Facebook message boards that I'm a member of, it is my understanding that California has already applied for 2 additional weeks of funding. Now, just because we've applied doesn't necessarily mean that we will be given the funds, because if you'll remember from one of my earlier videos, one of the requirements for the LWA program to remain in place is that FEMA funding has to remain above $25 billion. And as more of the states are starting to participate in the LWA program, the amount of their funding is going down. In the state of Iowa, they had a big storm. I think that was called derecho. I think they did apply for some funding from FEMA. We just had, I think we're still having big fires up north that we will likely get funding from FEMA for that. And right now, we've got the hurricanes in Louisiana. So as states apply for the traditional use of FEMA funding, that pool of money that they have gets smaller and smaller. So that does need to remain above $25 billion in order for states to continue to be able to pay us out. Now, just because they're only giving us an initial payment of 3 weeks, this will go back to the week beginning July 26th, and it's going to go through, I think it's August 15th or 16th, whenever that week ended. It's going to cover those 3 weeks, and then we have applied for more funding, but we don't know if it's going to be there or not. Now, just because we don't know if there's going to be funding doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be 3 weeks and then we won't see any more boost. Because remember, the expectation is that when Congress returns from this break, and they'll be back September 8th, the expectation is that they're going to continue to talk about a stimulus package, stimulus for unemployment, separate stimulus checks, and hopefully they will pass something that is actually easier to implement, better for the people, covers more people, and has funding for the duration of of the year. So I don't want everybody to worry too much about that, but this initial payment that we're supposed to be getting will only be for 3 weeks. Now we get on to the part that says eligibility. Federal guidance for lost wages assistance program states that in order to receive the $300 LWA payment, a claimant must have a minimum weekly benefit award of $100 or more, receive a payment on their regular or federal unemployment benefit claim, including Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, PUA, Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation, PEUC, and FED-ED. And if you're not in California, that's just referred to as EB. And must have provided self-certification that they are unemployed or partially unemployed due to disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. In regards to the $100 weekly benefit amount, it does appear that just your initial weekly base benefit amount that was in your original award letter, as long as that is above $100 and your earnings don't bring you to the point where you get the excessive earnings message. If your weekly benefit amount is $167 on PUA, but you're still working some Instacart shifts, as long as you don't get the excessive earnings message, which would mean that the EDD doesn't give you anything that week, then you would qualify for the $300. If you earn some money because you're working part-time, as long as the benefit amount that you get that week is above $1, it does look like, based on the state of Texas and New York, how they're handling everything, it looks like as long as the EDD pays you $1 in benefits that week, just like with the CARES Act, that you will also qualify for the additional $300 from the Lost Wages Assistance Program. Payments. The EDD will begin processing LWA payments in phases for eligible individuals the week beginning September 7th, 2020. I'm going to stop right there. I'm not quite sure if that means that they're going to send us a separate payment that's going to have 3 weeks of LWA money on it, or if they will wait until we certify. Also, September 7th is a holiday, and for those of you that are watching my channel for a while, you know what I have to say about the EDD when holiday time comes around. Usually what that means is that if you have certified on September 6th and Monday is the holiday, that it's those holidays that seem to be when our payments say pending for a little bit longer than usual before they go to paid. So personally, I don't think we're going to see the money right on the 7th. I could be wrong. That's just kind of my personal feeling. And I don't have a strong feeling one way or another as to if they're just going to load the money onto our cards or send a separate payment, or if they will wait until we certify in order to give us that extra $300. So on that, we're just going to have to wait and find out. I don't certify on the 6th, and my next time to certify would be Sunday the 13th. So I'm hoping that they don't make us wait until we certify. I'm hoping that as soon as those funds are ready to be released, that they just load it up on our cards and or send us a check if you're still receiving checks. And for those of you who are not in California, a lot of you guys are like, why don't you just get direct deposit? That is not available to us here in California. We either get a check or we get it on the Bank of America EDD debit card. And those are our only two options. And I also want to point out that an LA Times article says the week of September 7th. It doesn't actually say on September 7th. So again, that's just not quite clear if we're getting it on the 7th. Probably not in my mind because that's the holiday, but maybe sometime that week. And again, I don't know if that's when we certify or if it will be loaded separately. Now we go on to the different phases that they're rolling the program out in. So the first phase will cover claimants who previously provided information that they were unemployed due to a COVID-19 related reason on their initial application and have already received their regular state or federal unemployment payments for benefit weeks between July 26th and August 15th. So again, that time frame is 3 weeks of payments. Generally, claimants who applied for benefits mid-March would have been presented with questions about being unemployed due to a COVID-19 reason. Now, I mentioned this in my last video, but when I certified, there was a question that said something to the effect of, are you unemployed due to a disaster? And in parentheses, when I first filled out my claim, it said something to the effect of fire, earthquake, or flood. So I didn't really realize that it was a drop-down menu, and I saw only natural disasters listed, and I put no. So I am not expecting to be part of phase 1 because I didn't use the drop-down menu. Now, apparently, if you used the drop-down menu, one of the other choices would have said pandemic. At the time when I applied, that was March 13th, which was mid-March, but there wasn't just yet any information specific to COVID-19 on the EDD website. I believe it was the following week that they made the wording of that question a lot clearer to include people that were affected by COVID-19. But when I filled it out, March 13th, didn't realize that there was a drop-down menu and didn't fill that out. So for me personally, I am not expecting to get my payment even the week of September 7th. That's also going to include everybody on PUA as part of phase 1 because again, you guys are considered to have already self-certified that you lost your job towards the pandemic. I'm not sure about PEUC. It would depend probably on if you were asked questions regarding your unemployment status, and if you answered questions that indicated that you are out of work due to a COVID-19 related reason, I would think that you would be part of phase 1, but if you didn't answer those questions, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure if you'd be part of phase 1 or part of phase 2. But there is a phase 2. Unfortunately, they haven't quite said what the time frame for rolling the funding out to us in phase 2 is, but here's what the EDD says about phase 2. The second phase will cover claimants who did not have the opportunity to indicate they were unemployed due to a COVID-19 reason on their initial application and still meet the minimum $100 weekly benefit amount eligibility requirement. The EDD will be sending notifications to claimants to complete a one-time self-certification to inform the department if they were unemployed due to disruptions caused by COVID-19. The EDD will be notifying claimants by email, SMS text message, or by mail to gather this information in mid-September. The EDD recommends that once claimants get this notification, that they submit their self-certification through their UI online account for faster processing. So we don't yet know what's on the self-certification because that won't be sent out until mid-September. So I guess if they're not sending that out until mid-September, it would probably be late September to early October before those of us in phase 2 start to see the first 3 weeks of the LWA program $300 boost. But if I end up getting the money when I certify, I will certainly share that with all of you guys. It's really nice because I know that I had read some articles that said California was going to be so hard to get this programmed into their outdated computer systems that it could take almost 20 weeks before we'd get payment. And it's really nice because at least it looks like for most of us, it will be towards the first half of September that we start to see the money. I know that that's not quite as fast as a lot of you had hoped. It's not as fast as I had hoped, but it could have been a lot worse. And please keep in mind that even though it's just the first 3 weeks, California has applied for 2 additional weeks from FEMA. And even if the FEMA doesn't have the funding for that, there is still the expectation that when Congress is back from their break, that they will come up with a new unemployment stimulus plan. I don't think they're just gonna leave everyone high and dry, not with the election coming so close. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys my Webull link down in the description below. If you've been curious about the stock market, I do really like the stock trading app Webull. If you use my link, you get 2 free stocks after an initial deposit of $100, and one of those stocks could be valued up to $1,400. I do get 2 free bonus stocks when you use my link as well. I actually put my $100 in, got my 2 free stocks, waited for them to settle, and then transferred my $100 right back into my bank account. I have not sold the stocks yet. I could certainly do that and then put that money back into my bank account. If you do sell your stocks and put that money into your bank account, that can be taxable income. So I do want to let you guys know about that. But if you're just curious and you want to leave the stocks there and just kind of see how they go up and down as the stock market goes up and down, I do think it's a pretty beginner-friendly app that I enjoy using. So check that out and let me know in the comments down below which 2 free stocks you got. And that's going to be it for me today, guys. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. And thank you so much for watching Shelly's Millions. I'll see you next time.